Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my January wrap-up and my February TBR. I haven't filmed one of these videos in a couple months because I just haven't read enough books to film a wrap-up, I feel like, and also I haven't done a TBR the last few months. I was in such a bad reading slump. I was like, let me just read whatever I want so I don't put myself in another reading slump. So in January, I actually ended up reading 6 books, which is awesome. With being a student and also having a job, I feel like reading 6 books in a month is really good. My first book that I read in 2024 was The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I absolutely love this book. So many people have talked about it and I decided to pick it up because I've heard amazing things, and for very good reason. I ended up giving this book a 5 stars as well. I even was tabbing it a little bit, which I haven't done that in a while, so if that tells you how much I loved it. It's a romance about a girl named Clementine who moves into her aunt's apartment that is kind of magical. Like, you'll meet people in this apartment that are like 7 years in the past, which happened to Clementine's aunt and ends up happening to Clementine. She meets this guy Ewan. He's actually just in the apartment and she's like, what are you doing here? And then she finds out that he is living 7 years in the past, if that makes sense. The concept of it is kind of confusing. When I started the book I was so confused, but it makes sense if you read the book. And Clementine is just such a relatable character. She's very practical and safe and just likes to stay in control. She doesn't like to go out of her comfort zone very much, and I relate because it is very hard for me to do that as well. It's just such an emotional read and it perfectly depicts growing up and having things change and being scared of that. It gave me the same feeling that Happy Place gave me when I read that book. I honestly loved this book. 5 stars. So good, so emotional. I definitely recommend this one. You should read it for sure. Then I decided to pick up Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is her newest release. It like just came out not that long ago, but it's a YA romance about Charlie and Bailey. They meet in an airport at the beginning of the movie when they're in like 8th grade and they're on an airplane together, and then it fast forward to a few years after that, them meeting again, and you just kind of see them throughout their teenage years crossing paths over and over again. I gave this a 3.5 stars. I thought it was cute. I didn't love it. I don't really think about it in the nicest way possible. It just kind of reminded me a lot of Better Than the Movies, which is a 5-star read for me. I loved that book by Lynn Painter. It was also really long. Like, I felt like it did not need to be this long at all, but I did like Bailey and Charlie's characters. Depending on my mood, I am both of them. Their characters also did very much remind me of the characters in Better Than the Movies, so there's just a lot of parallels. Bailey's mom's boyfriend in this book has the exact same first and last name as my stepdad, which is so weird. I was like, which is so weird. Then I decided to pick up the 4th Heartstopper book. I've been reading these. I read the first 3 in December and I loved them. Heartstopper is just like a little graphic novel, and I've never read graphic novels before, so Heartstopper is my first one, but I love it. It's just so cute and a fast read. I feel like it's perfect to read if you're not feeling like using too much brain power. You kind of just want to sit down and enjoy a book. Graphic novels are perfect for that, and these ones are just I love Nick and Charlie so much. They're just so cute. And this one was definitely more emotional than the last 3. Like, this one deals with some heavier topics. I rated this one 4.5 stars. I really liked it. And I really want to learn more about Charlie's sister because her character is very interesting. And I think she does have a book, so might have to read that. And then I read the 5th Heartstopper book. This one just came out last month, I think. I don't know, but it came out very recently. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. It didn't hit the same as the other ones. I still really liked it. I just love like this little world and the characters and their little friend group. It's just so cute, but it just didn't hit the same as the other ones, so it's a 3.5. But I thought this was the last one in the series. Everyone was saying this was the last one, but there is in fact one more coming out, so yay. I'm excited for that, and I'll be waiting. And then I read Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. So glad I finally read this book. This is the 4th book in the Magnolia Park series, the last one up until this point, and I still really really needed to read it, so I finally read it. Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home is Magnolia and BJ, and then this one is Daisy, Julian, and Christian, but on the same timeline. You kind of know some of what's happening, but from different characters' perspectives. And while I do like Magnolia and BJ better, I feel like these books are much more action-packed because there's a lot more going on. In the Magnolia Parks books, you just kind of see the friend group dealing with their drama, but Julian's in the mafia, baby, so he's doing all kinds of crazy shit. Julian, 100% my favorite character. Him in this book, like, I have a vlog coming out where I'm like reading this, so keep an eye out for that because yeah. I don't want to say too much because this is obviously 4th one in the series, so I don't want to ruin anything, but I love this a lot more than I thought I was going to. Daisy and Christian are not my favorite, okay? But Julian... And then the last book I read in January was Iron Flame. Finally finished it. Only took me 3 months. But I ended up giving it a 4 stars. If y'all have kept up with me, I read like the first 350 pages of this book throughout November and December and then just stopped because I was not liking it. It's not that I hated it, it was just so much politics, so much was going on. I was like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with all the names. I can't keep up with what's going on, which I like politics-based fantasy, do not get me wrong, but the vibe of this one did not match 4th Wing. I wasn't like expecting it to be what it was, and then it didn't hit the same as 4th Wing, so I put it down, but I decided to pick it back up. The actual book says it's like 600 something pages. My Kindle, it was like 880 pages, which was actually insane. I don't know why it was so many more pages on my Kindle, but that's what I read it on. The last half of the book saved it. Like, the last half of the book was incredible. There was so much going on, so much action. That's why I got a 4 stars, because it was definitely sitting at a 2.5 to 3. The last half of the book, yup, really put it up there because it was phenomenal. I just think this book was put out way too fast. Like, if I'm being totally honest. 4th Wing came out in like April or May of last year, and then this came out in November. That's an insanely short amount of time for a 600-page book. I think if it was read through again, you could easily take off 100, 150, maybe even 200 pages. There's a lot of repetitive stuff. Like, there's a lot of scenes that are just to the point. It's like, okay, let's move on. I will in fact still be reading the next book. Like, 100% will still be reading the next book because, like I said, the last half of the book was really good. The ending was not what I thought it was going to be. It was not what I wanted, but I have to read the next one. There's not really, I don't really have a choice. This was such a highly anticipated read for me and was pretty disappointing. So I'm just hoping that we kind of, you know, live and learn from this one and make the next one better, because I do feel like this was kind of rushed. It wasn't bad, I just feel like it could have been better if more time was taken on it. Those are the 6 books that I read in January. Now we are going to move on to our TBR. The first book on my February TBR is obviously Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. This comes out on February 13th, I think, and I'm ready. Your girl is ready to read it. This is Magnolia and BJ's 3rd book, and it's their final book. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to be done with Magnolia and BJ, but that is 100% #1 book that I will be reading in February. No questions asked. Let me know if you want to see it in a reading vlog or anything, because I definitely will do that. Then we have Fuel the Fire by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the next book in the Calloway Sisters series. I think it's like the 8th book out of all of them, but I am filming a Calloway Sisters series vlog of the last, like, the 5 books of the sisters, not the Addicted series, just the 5 of the sisters. I want to continue working on that video, so I really do want to read this month. This one goes back to Rose and Connor, which is really exciting because I haven't read about them in forever. They've only had 1 book so far, so I'm excited to get back into this world with these characters. I love them so much, and this is the new cover that just came out because they're re-releasing all of the covers. It has like bonus content and stuff, and I'm really excited. Then we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book, I've said I wanted to read it so many times, and I just keep not reading it. I don't really have a reason for why, but I do really need to get to it. I've just heard so many good things. People love this fantasy, and I feel like it's going to be another one of those books that once I read it, I'll be like, why did it take me so long to read this? Another fantasy I want to get to is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. The series is just so intimidating because it's so many books, but I already read The Assassin's Blade, which I need to keep going. I need to jump in. Are we going to start our Throne of Glass journey in February? Who knows? Maybe. Then we have Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is the book that comes after Binding 13. I genuinely don't know how I haven't read this yet. The way that Binding 13 ends, most people pick this up right away because you just want to know what happens, because it just kind of cuts off so abruptly, you know? And I don't know what happened, but I never ended up picking it up. So I need to keep going because this is another series that has quite a few books in it, but I'm pretty sure Gibbs's book comes out this year, and I love his character. Even just from reading Binding 13, I love his character. This is on the list once again. And then the final book on my February TBR is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Another fantasy. This is about, I think, two writers that like write letters to each other or something, and they like build a connection through that. It says it's an epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak. But this is another book that people just absolutely love and just rave over. I really want to get to this too. Maybe I should just do like a fantasy reading vlog or something so we can read all of these. I don't know. Let me know if you'd want to see that. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you can motivate me to pick them up. But that is all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this little wrap up, and I will see you in my next one. Peace.